Welcome back. You're listening to Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole.
Hey, I'm Eric Stromer.
And, you know, greenhouses are really the, they're the wine cellar of the now. In other words, if you love to garden, you probably know about the beauty of having a greenhouse or someone else's greenhouse. But it's become this new thing where you can entertain when it's kind of cooler and you can be out there surrounded by your orchids and all these great flowers and then have a glass of wine.
Yeah,
it's
and they're also affordable and surprisingly so, and they can range, you know, from a small little dark room size greenhouse, you know, like 5x7, even smaller, all the way up to as big as you can imagine. But you can get into one of these things for literally $300 to $500.
Yeah,
some of the kits are really kind of affordable. And, you know, depending on your exposure and where you are and if you've got the proper fans and the heating elements inside, I mean, you can literally go in there in a winter month in someplace in a cold climate and have a lovely little room where you can enjoy your orchids.
You can enjoy your orchids. You can create projects, have a party, do whatever. So let's talk about how do you first choose the best greenhouse for you. And you mentioned your region, and that absolutely is one of the first steps because not only do you want to make sure that you have the right one that fits your needs in your pocketbook and your cold seasons and warm seasons, right?
Right.
And the size, but there also are some local regulations. Heads up.
Right. That's right.
You know, some places you might need a permit and some zoning setbacks and maybe even some underground utility requirements. Just a little thing.
No question. If you have to run power, which you will, you can't have an overground extension cord traipsing through the pond and the snow drift and all the other stuff. You know,
that doesn't sound good.
You got to hardwire it.
Yeah. And you probably need to have adequate lighting too, because that's the whole idea. Is not only the lights that are going to give your plants the warmth, but you know those flowers and plants need 6 hours of uninterrupted sun, even on a clear day.
Yeah, and you'll need, to your point, task lighting. So if you need to go in there at night, but the growing cycle doesn't require the lighting stays on at night, then you want to be able to walk in, flip a switch, and be able to see where you're going so you can figure out, you know, how am I going to get my tomato if I can't see?
It's fun, though, because, you know, when I was out at the Bayer Advanced headquarters, they have this whole new testing area. It's a huge, like a city of greenhouses where they're checking out different ways to grow plants and food, you know, against all odds, you know, against diseases and against things like this. And so they have these very sophisticated and computerized greenhouses, but really on a small scale, you could be doing this yourself. So you're always growing food. So you're always growing flowers, whatever it is you need, you know?
Yeah.
And it's fun to have an area, too, where you have access to water. It's not only fun, but it's critical. Is there a nearby hose bib?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, and you do need a sink probably.
Oh, I love that idea.
You know, with a drain so that you can, you know, vacate the water that you're not using, obviously. So you're going to need water, soil, light, air circulation, all the things that occur in nature naturally. You have to recreate in the greenhouse.
And
obviously.
you need your greenhouse outfit.
Well, which in my case is what? A lab coat.
I see you in a lab coat. It'd
be
very fun.
I know. It would be fun.
But I really, this is one of my wishes for 2014 is to have a little greenhouse setting. I mean, it doesn't have to be big, and it's now going to be your little hobby area. And, I mean, you can get something, for sure, as inexpensive as a couple $100, but you probably could get something smaller, like just a wall-mounted greenhouse, right? Where you aren't physically in there, but the plants are. The plants are tucked in, and that could be $100.
That's right. And, you know, generally the less expensive kits, it's a frame. You know, you either have like Gothic-style roof shapes or round-style greenhouse shapes. So when you're buying these kits, they're selling you a framework that almost, you know, imagine that it's like sort of a pup tent, but it's the shape that you buy. And then you're putting visqueen or plastic, you know, opaque plastic over that. And then inside you're going to have the ability to have the sun heat internally, and then you're going to need a heating element, a fan system, some humidifier system as well, and then some water and power, obviously. And that's basically it. But it's not easy to get all that into the one-stop shop unless you have some guidance.
And remember how cool it was at the Pasadena Showcase House, this home that's open for tour every year. They change the homes around. It's in the Los Angeles area, and that these homeowners had this huge greenhouse And we went on a photo shoot there, and it was so gorgeous because they had every kind of tropical flower you can imagine. And so regardless of the weather, now you could not only enjoy them, right? Beautiful orchids and all kinds of ferns, but then you could draft them and make new ones.
Right.
Right?
And you know what? It feels like the interior air quality is
Yes.
better than everywhere else.
It helped your sinuses.
Well, they drained finally, and I could hit that high C I've been longing to get to.
Oh, yes, it helps your throat as well.
Yeah.
But it is. It's like, the whole idea of just creating this own little environment that's going to give you your private connection with nature. So you could then make a list of all the different plants and edibles and things that you can grow throughout the year, right?
Yeah, like for example, there's a 7 by 6 high by 9 foot long greenhouse kit that you can get for about $1,200, and that comes. It's about 300 square feet. 300 cubic feet of space inside, and it's really cute. And you could have 2 people in there working at the same time. Couple of rows of plants on either side of this thing. It's got a little vent system in it, and that's really affordable to get.
Totally.
It almost becomes like a spare room if it's done right, because the climate will be such that you can be in there in the winter months and it still feels like you can hang out in there and have fun.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a place where you can, against all different climates, it really is kind of like a romantic structure, and it's going to be, since this was something that dates back to Roman times, you're going to have the chance to grow and cultivate exotic fruits and vegetables. I mean, plants that perhaps you not only buy, in your neighborhood nursery or big box store, but online, catalogs, very interesting, unique things from all over the world.
Exactly. And for me, it's great because I live in such a, sort of high desert.
Mars.
Area. Yeah, it's basically Mars. And I could actually finally grow things that are absolutely not possible in my region, according to the Sunset Guide, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that would be really nice, especially, exotic fruits and vegetables. That would be so fun to, look, I got a kumquat finally.
I know. And we'll think of the project with the kids. The kids could all come in there, right? And you could be propagating and making new plants from plants, growing these little baby seedlings and things, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So as you're thinking about what kind of a greenhouse that you want, I mean, you have the option of buying something already made. There's a bunch of companies that'll deliver it to you. There's the kit that you can create.
Right.
But then you could go completely on your own, just get materials. Without even having a kid.
Yeah, it requires a bit of research too, though. Don't forget, you're going to need some kind of a heater. You're going to need, again, a way to get moisture in there, a mister of some sort. So, if you put it together on your own, great, but do the research first. There's plenty of options out there. There's a great website called FarmTek, FarmTek, that sort of takes you through how to do stuff and gives you some ideas on how to either start it yourself or just buy the kit units.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And in terms of heating the plants, that's something that, of course, is going to make a world of difference, because now this is where it's like science, right? I mean, it makes it all possible to keep the greenhouse warm, but it also can cause problems with overheating. You can't forget that.
Yeah.
You don't want it to become, it has to be heat control. Which means maybe even some vents that allow, for a lighter, hotter air to leave the greenhouse, like near the roof, right?
Yeah.
And then the cooler air to enter near to the ground to act as almost like an air conditioning.
There's also one that I've seen that can attach to the side of a home. So, for example, if you're you have that walkway on the side of your house
Which
where
we
you
had.
keep your garbage cans or whatever. You can just have it sort of
it's like shelves.
Bolt up against the side of your house, and your house becomes the back wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of it is obviously
like
the
a window
greenhouse.
box,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it has a couple of shelves, and then you don't walk in it, though, do you?
No, you can walk in it. Yeah.
Very cute. It's like a little mini condo.
That's
or like a
exactly
sunroom.
Right.
It's a sunroom.
It really is. Yeah.
For your plants. What's the price point on that one?
That's
though?
about $1,800.
It's a little more expensive.
Yeah, but it's a little heavier duty. It'll bolt to the side of the house. It also has a rust-free base to it, because rainwater's going to hit it, and you don't want it to rot on the cement, obviously, where the contact point is. So, yeah, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to get one going.
Well,
here.
I think because you already have your sauna out there, right?
Yeah, I could sit in the sauna and look at my orchids.
Well, or you could sit in the greenhouse instead of the sauna.
Maybe much better.
You know what I mean? because you would have the
man.
relaxing effect and of course the skin moisturizing
Well,
and
yeah,
detoxing.
the dewy nature of
Yeah.
the greenhouse climate.
But there's a bunch of great plants to think about if you are considering this hobby of having a greenhouse. I mean, there's a number of really awesome plants that you want to add to your list so that this is going to be, your greenhouse.
Yeah, what's your
hideaway.
fantasy plant?
Well, I mean, the whole idea is to have, start with plants that either you can replant, maybe it's a friend's plants, or then maybe buy a couple that you got at the store. So, for instance, some year-round greenhouse gardens. Best bets, think about some of the edibles like tomatoes and peppers and squash. Maybe think about some herbs like sage and thyme and oregano. Maybe even some dill. And then I would think about some orchids and ferns. And now you're ready to rock and roll because you have you have some flowers, you have some vegetables, garden patch, herbs, and tropicals.
That sounds great.
See?
Yeah. What's the tropical one? Because the one that you gave me that starts out as a stick that looks like a slingshot, plumeria.
Oh, sure.
Mine never has
Well,
bloomed.
So that's going to do great by
I
putting
need
this.
to put that in the greenhouse.
Yeah, I think you need to have it in
Has
there.
yours bloomed?
This year it was a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, I
but,
didn't get one.
But it probably needs to be fed and
It could be my favorite smell.
keep it closer to the house maybe if
Yeah,
it's in a
it's probably too
container
cold
because it's a
for
little
it.
chilly.
Yeah.
But these greenhouses, I mean, this is a great hobby. I think we all should try it for 2014 and really have a chance to not only experiment with different plants, right?
Be cool to do
But relax.
lettuces too.
You can do
wouldn't it?
lettuces.
Yeah.
Now, we have some award nights that are going to be coming to a TV near you. What about having all the gang come over and watching who's who and what's what, who's winning what award for what?
Yeah. Let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
What are we gonna serve?
Well, we'll find
Let's
out.
find
Eric
out.
Strover, Cindy Dole, you're listening to Home Wizards.